Hello everyone. So yesterday I have to admit I worked until so late. I was so tired, so I didn't get to my Friday video. So I'm making up for it today. So happy Saturday. And today I want to talk about working for yourself. Is it worth it? Especially when I'm working until very late on a Friday night, right? Is it worth it? So I often have conversations with clients who are thinking about working for themselves, they work for themselves, or they want to go back to working as employees. Like there's all sorts of conversations here about working for yourself versus working as an employee. So I want to address a couple of things that have been on my mind lately, okay? One is that it's very important to know why you want to work for yourself. And also, it's very important to understand what business is all about. Okay. So, why you want to work for yourself? I have noticed that in certain fields, people get into the I want to work for myself not because of a business mentality, but because of they desire their own self growth, of their own self expression. Okay, like the arts, coaching, healing modalities, a lot of these things, you can start pursuing it professionally, not realizing that what you're looking for is your own fulfillment on a personal level. And I'm all for personal fulfillment. And in fact, I think it's fantastic if you can also find that through your career. But business is not about your personal fulfillment. A business is about solving a problem, solving a need out there. So a business responds to the market. Sometimes it's a whole other conversation. You might create a market for it, but it's extremely difficult, and I'm not even gonna go into that with this call. But essentially, a business is about serving others. When you serve others and it's something you're really excited about and you love, then wow, that's fantastic, right? That's the best. But you cannot expect to make money and have a business just because you like something or you like doing something. So this is really the big, I think, issue that sometimes trips people up. Okay, same things as motivation of like, I want to start a business so I have a lot of free time, or I can do whatever I want to in my time. Right, that's great, you want that, but your business has to solve a problem and deliver something, and it has to do so in a way that's sustainable financially, and all this other stuff, right? Otherwise you're not going to have you're not going to be able to relax really. So is it worth it? So let's go to when it really works, right? uh, I think what I've noticed, and I think I talked about this before, is that for those of us who really love being business for ourselves, we desire certain things that it's hard to get as an employee. One is to be completely in charge. One is like to have all the freedom you want. However, that freedom comes with responsibility. So the best business owners are very disciplined, right? And take high responsibility for their time. And sometimes it is a career, not a career, what do I mean? A field that, well, there's not that much, employee employment. Like, as I was mentioning before, the arts or coaching, these are things that are a lot of self-employed people. Okay. Of course, a business is not just a solopreneur. A business can have many employees, right? Or you might have contractors working for you. So maybe there's also a desire for leadership at a level that if you get a job at, I don't know, Apple, you might not get to have, right? At that level, because there's so many layers up of leadership. So there's many reasons why you want to go into business, and I think the question, is it worth it? Well, is it worth it to you, right? And and I think the motivation is what makes it worth it or not. But also my recommendation that I didn't used to give before, but now I feel like it's been on my mind, and I think it's important to remember, is that give yourself also a time limit. Like, because starting a business is always a risk, you can manage the risk. You can start it while you're an employee. You can, there's all sorts of things you can do to mitigate the risk, but it's always a risk. To give yourself a time constraint can be really helpful and also motivating. To say, I'm going to try this for 2 years, I'm going to try this for 5 years, or I'm going to try 5 years, might be even long. I'm going to try this for a year. And unless I see certain numbers move in a certain direction, I'm going to spend then time considering an alternative, right? Remember that a business will take 2-3 years to really get to a good level if you're lucky. Okay, so it's not a fast thing. However, you want to see fast movement in the direction of growth. In other words, if you're in business for a year and it's crickets for a year, that's not working. Okay. If you're in business for a year and you're not making the money you want to make, but you're making, more money than before, you have some happy customers, you see that you're enjoying it, you see that there's more opportunities for growth. Okay, that they're all good signs, right? So it's a mix of initiative, patience, and knowing what you're in it for. The other thing that of course is super important is financial sustainability. So these two, we all have different needs, wants, responsibilities. So go with your eyes open and assume that things will take longer and cost more than what you think. But ultimately, the question of is working for yourself worth it? We cannot judge, and especially we cannot judge ourselves harshly looking back. What do I mean by that? I mean that, we make the decisions we make based on the thinking we have at the time and the information we have at the time and what makes sense to us at the time. So we cannot look back 2, 3, 5, 10 years later and judge ourselves as if we should have known better. As they say, hindsight is 2020. And the reality is, if we had known better, we would have done better, right? And even those of you that are thinking, oh, but the thought came to my mind. Yes, but again, you have a lot of thoughts. You're just making it up as very significant. Then you ignored one thought in particular years later when you think back versus all the other thoughts you ignored at the time. So I think it's really important to keep a mix of openness and initiative and possibilities and energy and even maybe optimism, right? And practicality, keeping your eyes open, being very clear about your motivation. Understand that self-improvement is fantastic, but it's not business, okay? It can be something that intersects with your business, but just because you like something, just because it makes you feel good, it doesn't mean that it will make you money or that is a valid business idea. Give yourself some time constraint. Be clear about the money. Consider you are gonna bump into all sorts of things you don't know, and you cannot predict the future. And be open to learning, and always give yourself a lot of self-compassion. And then I think whatever you do and whatever happens, it will be worth it. This is it for today. I'm gonna go enjoy my weekend, and thank you for watching.